Hello everyone, Shane over here, and as you always know, you can check out my videos in the playlist. That is really important. Also subscribe and like if you like it. Also remember the sheet is always available to check. It's this one. We are doing the offensive parts of the dungeons, and the defensive video was just before this one. So check it out too if you want. Let's begin with this one. As I talk, I'm going to do kind of a masterclass per dungeon. Remember, this is not 100% current advice or play because every single time you enter in a dungeon, you can do a different route or have different teammates that will make your cooldowns work differently. Just so you kind of have an idea of how to use them, how to ration them sometimes, of course. Remember, most of the time we are not playing for overall, but to complete the key. So if you need to save some cooldowns or do something for a pool that you know it's really hard to pass through, you want to do that. Or maybe sometimes you don't even need to AoE or do that because the mobs are completely useless and you would rather hit some mobs like I do on this video with your single target abilities. Of course, the routes, as I said before, can be different. The cooldowns too. I also do some things kind of wrong. I've been trying to step up my play, but as you know, this is one of the dungeons I did this week. I have done all 20s on Tyrannical now with some 21s and 22s. I haven't uploaded some 21s because they are kind of the same as 20s, more or less. I did upload one Black Rook Hole 21 because I didn't have the 20 that I did on the morning, and also on Atalazar 22 because I found it really funny that I spent the last boss alone. So first of all, as you know, the sheet is for defensives and things, and this one is for offensive things. I don't want to have place for the cooldowns or anything because, as you know, as I said before, the cooldowns can change. So let's go into the video. So this is Galakron's fall. I'm going to try and talk over and not pause much. Just pause maybe on some bosses or things where I think cooldowns are important. So we shroud to escape the first huge pool because it's tyrannical. You want to do also these mobs with the boss if possible in the tyrannical week. So you can use your bloodlust while hitting the boss. We always put our ruptures on the targets. Try to not get aggro like I did. And then use our cooldowns, of course, on the boss. Really important. Do the mechanics. Always really important too. I just float there just to whatever. We did use our Witherback's branch, and you can see the two balls that I have over there. I played that badly. You have gotten the three of them. You know how it works. Keep doing the mechanics. And as you see, I use Flagellation and Shadow Blades. And we did all the damage that we needed. And then on the next set of cooldowns, I will kind of stop and show you how we are going to do things now. So, as you know, our cooldowns now, if you look at them, the flagellation is coming up. I will also have some mechanics to work with. We do tornado to get it on cooldown. And then after he jumps, this is where we should use our cooldowns again. Remember also to look at the life of the mob. In this case, he still has a lot of life, so we can use our cooldowns without any problem. We will wait some time because we have already waited so much, so might as well get the two of them together. Now, of course, flagellation with our shadow blades. I'm not going to talk about rotational things because you should already kind of know. The videos are also going to be up. But of course, remember, use your two cooldowns on the boss and then we will vanish. We're going to cloak and enter our second dance with power. And as you know, of course, boss is going to die soon. So we kind of stop the damage as we don't care that much about that. So that was a whole pool and we used... Holy shit, that was... I didn't two set of cooldowns with our abilities. Of course, we kind of don't want the hidden chain of talking. And now we go into this area, the sands area, and of course we will pull this coalescent time and the mobs that will come from the portal. We will gain our two sets from the Witherbash branch. And then here I do something good. I'm going to pause this to talk about a little bit about this. In Mythic Plus, as we are playing with Shadowcraft, we actually don't want to use Tornado with Symbols of Death. I will make a video about this a little bit later. We still have to put also in the APL. It kind of syncs it with Blades already with some conditions, but this is for damage because remember we are playing Shadowcraft, and if we get a refill while we are on Tornado, it's kind of useless. Sí, sí, meta. Here, of course, you know, this is a 3-mob pool, so we are going to use the Rupture 2 times. With Replicating Shadows, the Rupture will get spread. And this is how we begin the pool. You see we are not doing much damage, but that doesn't matter. Again, our dance back. It is the frontal. Now here we are in our Shadow Dance, doing damage. Remember, 3 pools are kind of the worst thing that we can get into, but if we use our cooldowns well, as you see there, our damage can be decent. Here we get 2 ruptures. So now here, this is the most important thing. If the pool comes in pairs, you also may have to wait a little bit to do your rupture so it gets spread to a mob, because if we use the rupture too soon, it will have only gotten into this mob. In this case, of course, as you know, now we have our 3 targets ruptured and our Shadow Dance is about to go off cooldown. We will use Shadow Dance. And remember, like I told before, Tornado is not that important to use with Symbols of Death. We are using this Tornado kind of as a way to get easy and free finishers. Also, some cooldown usage things. If the pool is about to die, you kind of don't want to use cooldowns like Flagellation. So you will hold that one. In one of the pools, of course, we should have used one of our banished charges. I didn't, that's a mistake. You want to have at least one roll on cooldown because it also helps to do more damage on the pool itself and get your cooldowns earlier. Here I used, of course, Flagellation, and then I will banish, but also, as you know, this is Tyrannical Weak, so the mobs are really weak. I banish anyway to get some of our cooldowns back and get ready for the boss fight. Yeah, boss fight. We have our trinket ready and also one charge of vanish and flagellation soon. But first, we want to get slice and dice and rupture up on the boss and do the boss mechanics. As you see here, I also made a mistake. I didn't use slice and dice, so we don't have slice and dice for the beginning of the boss, and I use it a little bit later. But it's the finisher that you want to use first because you can rupture in dance, but the slicing and dicing dance doesn't have any value whatsoever. Of course, you should know the mechanics on the boss, but you kind of want to stand in the slow pace always, because it gets you 20% less damage taken. You didn't know. Here, of course, as you can see, I'm doing the rotation, and I kind of mess up again because I lose my 2 buff, and I wanted to get the 3rd one for our Witherbark branch. And then we use, of course, Shadow Blades. And we use our second dance here. We should have used this a little bit later because now we kind of have a Sectec without our dance. If we wait a little bit more, we could also have gotten that with flagellation, but it is what it is. Mistakes were made. Now, of course, I should have just cloaked here. I here kind of waited a little bit. And now, we of course, use our flagellation, get into the boss, use cloak so we can get healed. Of course, we get chronofaded. We wanted to get dispelled fast, but we didn't. And here we could have used one of the vanish charges that we have, but we are saving it for the next mob. That kind of important one. Sometimes you have to make those decisions because this boss was going to die anyway. I need to check my energy more. Also that, you have to check your energy if you are using the T build, kind of. If you are not using the T build, sorry. I'm using Echoing Reprimand. And if you're using Echoing Reprimand or Cold Blood, those two builds have acrobatic strikes. They are really good. I already talked in the PTR. I'm going to also update the builds a little bit. But we want to kill this mob as soon as possible. Even in Tarnicle Week, it's a really dangerous mob. Here we got two of the balls, and then we got the third one there. Of course, as you know, if flagellation is coming soon, but as you know also, we only use Shell Base because the mob is already at 8%. Also a neat trick that you can do and know, your sprint and going in and out of stealth is more speed than mount speed. Because one is 120% and mount speed is only 100. You want to get ahead. Let's skip a little bit. Now this pool, it's a double pool. It's kind of a bait. You don't need to AoE. The important targets are the two dragons. So everyone is just doing all the AoE in the world. Meanwhile, we are doing, of course, eviscerates and secret techniques. And you can see here also, we are hitting the two dragons as hard as possible. We are completely destroying them. But also another thing, it's not that you lose a lot of damage by using black powder instead of eviscerate. It's just that pool you kind of wanted to do that. Funny thing, I did check the damage and the decay with his cooldown did the same thing as I did to the dragons because he was hitting the two dragons at the same time. But on the singular one that I was focusing, I did around 70% more than him. Of course, you know, this pool is about to die. We don't want to use our flagellation. Here, I focus the mob itself. You can see we got refill. Of course, always have slice and dice up. We are not playing premeditation, so we have to use it. Of course, I didn't use my trinket because I wanted to save it for the boss. You know that it's coming right now. A Tyrannical boss, our trinket is going to give us the power that we need. Yeah, I didn't want to use cooldowns on those. That's funny. We'll use our trinket with shell beds. Another thing to, of course, know about this is that the first phase we kind of don't care that much about it, but we are going to get our cooldowns into the next one with our banish. We'll wait a little bit for our symbols of death to come off cooldown, and then we banish. We get our combo points and use flagellation. Remember always to keep a healthy dose of slice and dice. If you saw my video on the defensive, you can cloak here. It's kind of a dangerous phase, and you will get it back anyway on the last one, kind of. I need one, let me share for that one. Here, I don't remember if I made this mistake, but remember to try and not use dance if you will not be able to use. So here I did some. We kind of messed up here, passing the corruption around. Corruption, sorry. So of course we use cloak after popping this, and now here we are ready. Slice and dice. And here I think I also made a little mistake. Remember what I talked about waiting for rupture? Here we should have waited for the other mob to come. Unless there's something. This is a rotational thing, so it's not that important, but if you have a finality rupture, you can use it in dance, and of course, if you use it on the other mob, it doesn't matter, because you will have used it anyway. Here we could have cloaked the Necrofrost, but we didn't because we didn't have it, of course. Now, as you can see, I use my trinket. Just to have it on cooldown because the next pack is whatever. Here I mess up again. Well, the tank kind of jumps into me, so it's not like a huge mess up. And here I also, of course, make a decision to not use Banish and reset my Shadow Blades and Flagellation because there's some runtime. Kill myself to try and save the tank. I think I was saving the tank, but the tank was fine. He had his cooldowns and he was only tanking that one. So as you can see here, we didn't use our Banish, so our cooldowns are coming up nicely. And we also have our Trinket on cooldown to have it back again for Galakrond. Of course, remember, always putting the ruptures on different targets. And here we are doing our tornado. Here I make the mistake that I told you about. Using tornado with symbols of death. You shouldn't really do that. Yeah, I think I just evasioned, but you can just do it like in Throger, the Sharky boss. Here I got aggro and I got one time slice, but it's whatever, of course. I use one of my banish charges, get an extra click and some cooldown things, and also to use blind soon. It's needed, it's not, we just end the pool. Also, one thing that you may notice that I did there, if we are not running premeditation, we don't care that much about that first Shadow Strike. So if you have combo points and can use a Rupture, that's also fine because that Rupture will have Night Stalker to it, doing 10% more damage. Of course, as you saw before, Galakron coming soon. We have our trinket back and everything. It's kind of fine. these two mobs are whatever. We will try to get our slice and dice going. We used Shadow Blades because we don't care that much about it and we are getting it later. And to also get these 10 Shadow Techniques stacks to have our beginning dance with some extra power. I'm going to say Flagellation and everything for the shield. Of course, as I talked before here, I would say Flagellation for the shield. I kind of rant around a little bit. You can also cloak this one if you are... That's from the one from the other side. Because the dot is the heavy thing. And also you can feint that one. Sadly, we don't get that much power from this 50% haste, but we use our flagellation, we begin getting our orbs, and getting ready to do some big damage on this shield. You can't really kite the orb around to get the full value on it, but it is whatever. I should have waited a little bit to do Echoing Reprimand alone, but we did it fine. And now, of course, remember, this boss is not all about the shield. We also want damage on the normal phase. So we use our Shadow Blades. And we are going to use, of course, all of the damage that we can. But do remember to wait a little bit between dances, so you don't do like I did here and use a secret technique without blades. Here I managed to get flagellation back. Of course, we want to always have slice and dice. Here we feint for the Cracker Barrage. I fainted a little bit earlier, but that was because I wanted to do Tornado. Oh shit. Here, of course, we make a mistake and we get knocked up by the wave. It is what it is. What? How did I get? That's kind of a little bug where you get the combo points a little bit later than usual. We're getting our trinket back soon. Of course, we use Shadow Blade with it. And try to push the last 2% for him to go into his last phase. Try not to get, of course, another Earthcracker Barrage. Here, of course, is the energy. When he gets to 100% energy, he begins his last phase. That's why it says buff ink to maybe save some cooldowns. But as Sobrati, you don't really need that. So he has just enough slice and dice to finish this dance, and we are going to one in. And the boss is done, the dungeon is done, and the video is done. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can always put them in the video or in Discord. And if you have any feedback general for these kind of videos or anything like that, you can also send it to me directly. You